Hi, I'm Kurt Bowman, and welcome to Yoga for Old Guys. We've got another good session together, I hope. Hope you're finding value. And again, if you're new to this series, you can jump in anywhere. We're not sequential in what I've been doing, but trying to mix it up a little bit between some more vigorous heat building practices and some slower ones. So let's get started. Come into a comfortable seated position. Rest your wrists on your knees or thighs. And again, that comfortable seated position for you might be kneeling or legs out in front of you. Go ahead and close your eyes. Drop your shoulders. Let your spine grow long. Sit tall. Pretend somebody's just kind of gently lifting your spine up through the top of your head. Rest that neck straightly over your spine. And now the biggest challenge of all, and that is bring your mind, at least for the next 30 to 45 minutes, bring it into a line with your body in time right now. Don't think about past week or everything that's been going on in this great country of ours. Don't think about the future, just think about right now. Breathe slowly in through your nose and exhale through your nose. Breathe in, exhale out. Fill your abdomen with air as you breathe in. Audibly let it out. Last time. Open your eyes. Still in that cross-legged position. Just gently lean forward as far as you're able. Let your head drop. For some of you, you can get your elbows down on the ground. Just lean in. Let the lower back start to warm up. Come back up with your feet still crossed. Lean out over your right knee. Let your head drop. Don't pull the knee up to meet your head. Keep your glutes on the ground. Come back up and lean out over your left knee. Again, don't force your knee up, just wherever you're at in life in the flexibility area, just lean forward over your left. Glutes are on the ground. Without coming up, just bring your arms out in front of you to center. And walk your fingers back over to your right knee. You're leaning out over your right knee. Arms stretched out in front of you. Walk your fingers back to center. And now walk them back over to the left. You're over your left knee now. Come up to seated. Let's come up onto our hands and knees, tabletop position. And just stretch back and lower yourself all the way to the floor. We're going to warm up
the spine with some gentle bending and stretching. Forehead on the mat. Bring your hands down next to your chest.
Just come up into a slight baby cobra, not all the way up. Just come up, chest is off the ground, push up a little bit,
come on down. One more time, come up.
Bring it up slightly.
Bring it back down.
Come on up. Last time, baby cobra. And
bring it back down. Push yourself up and back on your knees into a child's pose. Your big toes are together, knees apart, arms stretched out in front of you. Walk your fingers further away from your head. Your glutes are as far back as you're able. Maybe they're on your heels. Stretch out that lower back. Clavicles. Come up into tabletop. Shoulders over wrists, hips over knees. And inhale, drop your pelvis, raise your head, come into cow. Exhale into cat. Roll your spine up. Let your head and neck drop. Inhale into cow. Exhale into cat. Inhale into cow. Exhale into cat. Come into a neutral spine. Readjust, make sure your back is flat. You're on all fours. Right knee, just raise it off the ground an inch. Bring your right knee straight back up. Raise your foot up behind you. Knees pointed straight back. Just rotate it out to the side like a fire hydrant dog. Bring it down in front and back. And keep rotating backwards first and around. Just bring it full circle. Come down 3 times. Go forward with it. Same rotation. Just bring your knee forward, back, and around. Forward, up, back, and around. And the last time. Forward, up, back, and around. Come into tabletop. Left knee off the ground an inch. Bring it back straight. Out to the side and bring it around and back down. Second time up, back, and around. Rotation, third time up, back, and around. Bring it, now reverse it, but come forward. Knees forward, side, back, and down. Forward, side, back, and down. Forward, side, back, and down. Come back into child's pose. Push those palms and fingers away from the body. Stretch out the shoulders. Come into, back onto your front on your stomach. This time, bring your hands out in front of you. Elbows under the shoulders. And your palms can be up or down. Let's start with your palms down. And first come down as flat as you're able. And then push up into Sphinx.
forearms are flat on the floor. You're arching back the lumbar and you're pushing up with your forearms and come back down. Arms back along your sides. Turn your left ear to the mat. Come back, forehead on the mat. Bring your forearms out in front of you. Palms down. And come back up into Sphinx. Your toes are back, pointed back and flat. Don't jam the spine, just stretch into it. And come down, right ear to the ground. Arms back along your sides. Right ear to the ground, just stretch your neck a little bit. One side might be better than the other. I know it is for me. And come back to your forehead on the ground, palms next to your chest, and push straight up into a plank, high plank. Engage the abs, engage the glutes. Remember, everything's straight. Anytime you're in a plank, look 6 inches out in front of your mat. Neck is straight, everything is engaged. And come back into down dog. Pedal out the heels, calves. Get everything loosened up. And walk your hands back to your feet. Forward fold. Slight bend in your knees. Just let the legs and back and glutes just stretch a little bit. Hands back down to the mat. Walk your fingers out away from you to a high plank. Get everything level. And walk your feet up to your hands. Forward fold. Grab your elbows. Sway from side to side gently. Let your neck and head hang. Let the stress come out of your shoulders. Hands down, forward fold. And roll up one vertebrae at a time. Mountain pose. Anytime you're in mountain, try and focus and train your shoulders to go back and down. We roll them too much. We stand shoulders rounded forward too often. Just take this time to let the shoulder blades come together and let your shoulders roll back and down, palms facing forward. Inhale, arms overhead. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lifted. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, come into chair. Knees together. Drop your glutes like you're sitting into a chair. Bring your arms out in front of you. Always remembering, do not shove your shoulders into your ears. Bring them as high as you're able. Some are more able than others. Bring your hands into heart center, into a prayer, and fold forward. Halfway lifted. chest down and forward. Drop the pelvis.
Forward fold and come into high plank. Straighten everything out. Glutes, legs, everything's engaged. And come into downward dog. Right leg, three-legged dog. Bring your right foot forward. Drop your knee. Hands up on your right knee. Toes, back toes pointed flat and behind you. And now just allow your pelvis to drop. Stretch out that hip. Hands to the mat. Roll your back toes up and under. Bring your right leg back into high plank. Downward facing dog. Walk your feet up to your hands. Forward fold. Inhale, halfway lifted. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, roll up one vertebrae at a time. Mountain pose. Inhale, arms overhead. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, come into chair. Knees together. Don't let one track in front of the other. Hands up. Palms open, facing up. Bring your hands to heart center and forward fold. Inhale, halfway lifted. Exhale, come into high plank. Re-engage everything. Everything's straight. We're going to hold here. Look 6 inches out in front of you. Push your shoulder blades away from the floor. And come into downward facing dog. Left leg, three-legged dog. Bring your left foot up by your left thumb. Drop your right knee, point your right toes back. Come into a lunge, hands up on the left knee. Now just focus on the pelvis dropping straight down. Stretch out that hip. Hands back down to the mat. High plank. Engage everything. And come into downward facing dog. Walk your feet up to your hands. Forward fold. Halfway lifted. Back down to forward fold. And roll up to mountain pose. Remember, drop your shoulders back and down. Chest is out. Take a breath. Inhale. Arms overhead. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lifted. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, come into chair again. Knees together. Drop those glutes. Hands up. You come down another ½ inch. When you're coming down, drop your glutes, not your chest. Come down another ½ inch. Bring your hands to heart center and prayer twist Check your knees. Are they tracking? Are they in line? One is going to want to come forward, get them in line. Keep the heart above the glutes. Pivot with your torso. Forward fold. Inhale to chair. Hands to heart center. Prayer twist to the left. Check your knees. Twist with your chest. Open the heart up. Let the spine pop. And forward fold. Inhale, halfway lifted. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, come back up into mountain. Hands to the hips. Swing the right foot out 3 to 4 feet. Toes pointed forward. Hinge at the waist and then forward as far as you're able. You want to slide the feet further apart so you can get your palms flat down on the floor. Go ahead. Now, turn your right foot out, bend your knee like you're going to come to, we're not going to go into a warrior. Now drop your left knee and you're in a lunge. But inch your right foot out to the edge of your mat and come down as far as you are able. For some, you can get your forearms down. I'm not able. But bring your torso, chest inside of your right knee. Don't roll to the right. Don't roll it in. Just bring everything down straight as far as you're able and feel the opening, the stretch of that right hip. This is called lizard. I've seen people, particularly females, who can bring everything, just get their forehead right down on the ground. But it's not a competition. Come back up. Bring your hands back down to the mat and come into wide leg. Head down, palms on the mat. Pivot with your left foot. Pivot it out away from your body. Bring your right knee to the ground. Come up, hands on the left knee, into a lunge and inch that left foot out to the edge of the mat. And let's come into lizard on this side. For me, the big thing is to focus not so much on getting forearms or anything to the mat as is imagining that now left glute, left hamstring is able to drop down. My torso is inside my left knee. Head hangs. Neck is relaxed. Inch your way back up, hands on the left knee. Bring your hands down, back down to the mat and come into wide leg, forward fold. Palms on the mat. Head is hanging straight down. inch here. Let's walk our fingers over to the left toes. Walk them back to center. Walk them now to the right, towards the right toes. And walk them back to center. Hands on the hip. Come up to standing. Bring your feet together slightly, still wide, but toes pointed forward. Hands to cactus, arms to cactus, and now come down into a squat or goddess pose. Keep your back straight, bend your knees. You might want to point your toes out a little bit. Come down into a chair. Come down another ½ inch. Feel that in your glutes, legs. And come up to standing, hands on the hips. Arms straight out. Into cactus again. Come down into that squat type pose. Come up, arms overhead, hands at the waist. Do a slight back bend and come to the top of your mat. Take a breath in mountain. Shoulders are back and down, palms are pointed forward. Inhale, arms overhead. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lifted. Exhale, high plank, lower to chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Right leg, three-legged dog. Bring your right foot up and forward. Now, without dropping your left knee, bring your left palm up next to your right foot, palm down, and do a twist. Bring your right arm up above your, straight up towards the ceiling. Check your knee, front knee, and remember to twist as much as you're able with the chest. Open it up. Bring your right hand back down to the mat. Right foot back. Downward dog. Take a few breaths in downward dog. Left leg, three-legged dog. Left foot up next to your left thumb. Right palm down next to the left foot. And let's twist to the left. Bring your arms straight up to the ceiling. Open with the shoulder. Open with the chest. Open. Hold. Feel that opening up. Hand down to the mat. Left leg back into high plank. And downward facing dog. Right leg, three-legged dog. Bring your right knee up by your right thumb. Adjust your left or your right leg forward as much as you're able, but don't tweak your knee. Push your left toes straight back, left leg straight back, and move the left foot, all of it,
far back as you're able. And now simply allow your pelvis to drop straight down. You can stay up on your fingers. You can come down, if you're able, into your forearms, or bringing your forehead to the ground. Wherever you're at in the practice, it doesn't matter how far you're up or down. The most important thing is that you are opening up the hip. As I will continue to say it, the more we can keep our hips loose, the better our lower back will feel. And believe it or not, the more flexible we are in the legs, the stronger our legs will be. Seems odd, but it's true. Come back up to your fingertips. Walk your fingertips back towards your knees. Just come into, this is called cobra, high cobra position. At some point, you may be able to bring your hands behind you into a king cobra. It takes a lot in the way of abdominal and glute strength. And curl your back toes under. Come into right leg, three-legged dog, and shake that out. Come into downward facing dog. Get everything square. Left leg, three-legged dog. Bring your left knee up by your left thumb. Same thing on your right side is push the toes, the right foot back as far as you're able. The further back that goes, the lower your pelvis will go. Are you feeling that in your left hip? Now the same thing. Come forward, even if it's on your fingertips, forearms, or forehead to the ground. Just come forward, always focusing on dropping the pelvis at the same time. If you can't drop your pelvis while coming forward, stay high. Stay up high, as the expression here you want to achieve is a lowering of the pelvis and opening of the left hip. Okay, come back up. Fingertips. Walk yourself up as high as you're able. Again, if you're able, bring your hands back behind you into King Cobra and come back down. Left leg back into three-legged, left leg, three-legged dog. Shake it out. Come into downward facing dog. Pedal out the ankles and feet. Drop your knees, toes together, and come into child's pose. Push that back out. Stretch it out. Take a couple breaths. Come into tabletop. Now it's important in tabletop to square up before we start anything. Shoulders over wrists, and of course hips over knees. Bring your left heel straight out behind you. Now, in each step here, it's important to check. Are you square?
Don't roll into your right. Don't drop to your left. Square the hips, heel is straight out. And if it's in your practice today, bring your right arm straight out. Push your right fingers as far away from your left toes as you're able. Thumb is pointing up. Palm facing in. Come out to the side. Bring your right arm out to the side, left leg to the side. Opposites, of course. And come back to center. Bring your right elbow to your left knee. Come in. Bring it back straight out. Touch them again. Number 2. Straight out. Square up. And number 3. Straight out. Come into tabletop. Inhale through your nose. Exhale through your nose. Once again. Exhale through your nose. Right heel out. Straight. Are your hips square? Bring your left arm out straight. Thumb pointed up. Palm in. It might help to turn your toes down and in. Raise everything a half inch. Come out to the side. Back to center. Square up. Raise everything a half inch. Left elbow, right knee, 1. Come out straight. 2. Come out straight. 3. Come out straight. Back to center. Square up. And come into tabletop. Inhale through your nostrils. Exhale through your nostrils. Inhale. Exhale. Come into a high push-up, high plank. Down to lower yourself straight down to the mat. Arms, forehead down on the mat. Arms alongside your body. Toes pointed straight back. Bring your hands about a foot away from your body. You're in a V arrow shape. We're going to come into Superman, which is going to be knees and feet off the floor, chest and neck off the floor, arms off the floor. Ready? Come up. Chest is off the floor. Your neck is straight. Your eyes are looking down. 4 inches out in front of you. Don't crane your neck. Lift your knees. Lift your feet. The only thing is touching your pelvis. And come straight down. Everything's on the mat. Take a breath. One more time. Superman up. Everything's up. Don't be tempted to crane your neck. Just look a few inches out in front of you. Neck is straight, looking down. And come down. Take a breath. Last time, everything is up. Superman. Everything. Knees, foot, feet. You're looking forward, straight down. And come down. Palms up alongside your chest. Push straight up into high plank. Drop your knees, toes together, and come back into child's pose. As gentle as this flow is, I hope you're building some heat, and I'm not the only one. Take a breath or two. Come into tabletop. Forearms down on the ground. Straight out in front of you, fists up. Toes behind you, come into a traditional low plank. This is one of the best ab exercises if you do it correctly. Get your everything level. Knees are locked, glutes are engaged, ab is engaged, neck is straight. Back in high school, we would have been better off doing planks than the sit-ups with the hands behind the head. Knees down, push back into child's pose. Come into tabletop again. Forearms down. Fists out in front of you, come back into plank. If you have somebody near you, or you have a mirror or something, you can check your alignment. But the whole idea is ramrod straight. Deceptive exercise in that it is so good for functional strength. Drop your knees, push back into child's pose. Okay, let's come into seated on your mat. Come into with your feet flat on the floor. The glutes are down and engaged. Your sits bones are down and engaged. Bring your heels as close to your glutes as you're able, and just slowly lower your back to the mat. Head is down. Now, get your shoulder blades underneath you. Roll them down underneath you. Move your heels in a little closer. Arms are down on the ground. And come up into bridge. You can walk your feet back a little bit. Whole idea is to raise your hips. That's what we're looking for here. Take your right leg and extend it straight out. Right from your shoulder, boom, straight out 45 degrees. Raise your hip, and bring both feet to the floor. Left leg straight out. Get your hips in square. Can you still move your head and neck? If you can't, get off your cervical vertebrae and get back onto your shoulder blades. Left leg is straight out. Bring it down. Raise your hips. Drop everything to the floor. Take a breath. Raise your hips. Are they as high as you can get them without hurting your neck? Right leg straight out. Down. Left leg straight out, down. Right out, readjust your hips. You need to raise them. Get your glutes tight, down. Left straight out, re-engage the glutes. Bring it down, everything's on the floor. One more time. Hips up, onto the shoulder blades. Right leg out, engage, down. Left leg out, engage, down. Right leg out. Check those hips. Refire those glutes. Right foot down, left leg out. Get the alignment, get the hips, glutes tight, and bring the left foot down. Hips down on the floor. Pull your knees into your chest. Keep your head on the ground. Pull them in. Pull those knees up and in. Stretch out that lower back. Feet flat on the floor. Right leg up and over your left leg. Left knee is pointed toward the ceiling. Raise your hips, bring them to the right an inch or two, and allow your knees to fall to the left. Bring your right arm out to a T. Let the weight and gravity just stretch that hip again. Bring everything back up. Feet flat on the floor. Knees up. Left leg up and over the right. Raise your hips, bring them to the left an inch or two, and allow everything to fall to the right. Keep your left shoulder on the floor as much as you're able. Everything's up. Bring the soles of the feet together and allow your knees to fall apart, bringing them widely apart. Bring your knees back up together. Pull your knees into your chest. Bring your head up to meet your knees as much as you're able. And bring your legs straight out. Heels mat width apart. Let your arms fall straight down into final Shavasana. Let gravity take over, release your breathing. Imagine your calves sinking right into the floor. Hamstrings, glutes release. Shoulders fall away. to wake up your fingers and toes. Wiggle everything. Bring your arms gently over your head. Kind of like a morning stretch, but not so dramatic on the body. Just let them fall straight up over your head. Hopefully your shoulders are a little bit looser than they were when we started, but for some of us, they're never going to be totally loose. Roll onto your right side. And come up to a seated position. Again, just roll slightly forward. Give that back one final stretch. Come back up. Bring your hands to heart center. Lower your chin to your chest in gratitude to yourself for practicing and taking the time to work your body and relax your mind. To you, I say namaste. Thank you. And as always, if you feel you have found value in this, you can like it. If you have any comments for me, if there's anything you'd like to see, you can make a comment in YouTube, or you can send me an email directly at yogaforoldguys@gmail.com. Again, I'm Kurt Bowman, and thanks for practicing with me. Have a great day.